This is absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. What happened with the Zionist state of Israel? They are now receiving this kind of threat from Hamas they have never imagined. A lot of the time when I report in this channel about the incidents happening with Al-Qassam brigades, how they conduct their operations against the Zionist forces inside Israel and also outside Israel, which is Gaza itself, I always mention the complex operations. That's they code it as complex operation. A lot of this operation, I would say 99.99% of the operations, those complex operations or just regular battle with the Zionist forces, they take place in a very, very predictable way for the ITF forces. Very, very predictable way. But this time they never predicted this and they were caught off guard. I want to share with you all the photos, the details, and I will do some analysis of the photos that I have obtained from the internet and from the recent events coming from Gaza itself, including those missiles that are flying in the sky in this video. Before I move on, just to remind you, most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you happen to be one of them, consider subscribing. Let's go one by one of these pictures that I have gotten for you guys. You can clearly see, maybe not so clear in this photo, but there was a streak of smoke of those missiles. Now these missiles, are the ballistic missile? Possible. Are they made by Hamas themselves? Absolutely 100%. I will not be surprised if these are all homemade missiles, rockets that are being launched to Israel. Now, how many of them were launched this time? 2. Normally, you will see they will just test 1. Why? Because if it succeeds, then they will launch another one. But these 2 rockets, they were launched successively, showing that the Hamas, they were so confident that both of them will hit their targets. And they did. They actually caught these residents off guard where it hit its target. And it was a big surprise and a big success at the same time for the resistance forces coming from northern Gaza. Now, the target was 2 places. So one went to Jerusalem, one was launched towards Jerusalem, as you can clearly see here. The other one was launched in southern Israel. These 2 rockets, they were not launched towards just one place. In other words, they were launched in 2 different locations. The picture I have, this picture that you're seeing right now, this sky here, this is just one location. This is, I believe, is in Jerusalem. The other one hit southern Israel. In other words, now the resistance forces are sending a clear message to the Zionist state that we will reach anywhere we want in Israel. You better activate your siren system. And this is what they did. The sirens were activated, and this was the first time a siren was activated or sirens were activated because of Hamas's rocket launch, this kind of rocket launch. Yes, in the past they activated sirens because of those missiles, drones coming from northern Gaza, but the first time I am reporting that it was the first time they have sounded these sirens because of the ballistic missile or that type of missiles. These are absolute shock for them, and I'll tell you why I believe these are absolute shock in a second. Now, this is what I have also obtained from the internet. The arsenal the resistance forces have of weapons and missiles, including, as I said, it could be ballistic missile, but hypersonic, I would say yes, most likely they do already have hypersonic missile in their stock. What kind of missiles was used? Now, this is a Qassam-R missile. Okay, the one you are seeing right here, this one is a Qassam-R missile. Now, we know Qassam is the military wing of Hamas. Al-Qassam is the military wing of Hamas. And they named this missile after Al-Qassam. Okay, and they have this, looks like a code R to identify or to differentiate this kind of missile from others. But they do have a lot of them in their stock. Now, this missile attack, these are not propaganda war. This is real war. This is absolute 100% real. Also because this information, the attack is coming also from Kan newspaper, broadcasting channel in Israel. As you can see, Kan. And they basically said that this missile was launched from a close range from Beit Hanoun. Now, Beit Hanoun, that name is very, very important for you to understand this rocket attack. Okay, Beit Hanoun, remember this name. Recently, Israel, they incinerated the whole area. They burned everybody down, everything down, all the infrastructure, everything is gone. This is almost like a ghost city. If you go to Beit Hanoun right now, or if you Google it, you will see nothing there. And if you see the pictures coming on social media from Beit Hanoun, it's a ghost city. There should not be anyone other than Israeli forces, because they believe they have captured the city, the area, and therefore it is clear from all Hamas activity and Hamas members. Nevertheless, this is the place that was used by Hamas in this case when they launched this missile attack on Israel, on Jerusalem and also southern Israel. Now, this area, as I said, as you can read here, was or is still heavily occupied by IDF. Means they have their tanks, their personnel, weapons, everything. They have concentrated their huge force on just this area in northern Gaza. Why? Because this, for them, is an important, vital location for future Gaza settlements. I mean, they are talking about bringing the settlers, the terrorists, to northern Gaza. Therefore, this place is very, very important. Strategically, Beit Hanoun is very, very important for IDF, and they want this area to be all cleared up. And this is also because close to Israel feel very uncomfortable, and they are always at risk of coming under attack by the resistance forces because of its proximity with Israel. I will show you the map so you know what I'm talking about. If you take a look at this map here, you can see where Beit Hanoun is. Beit Hanoun is right here, okay, on the map. Where is Tel Aviv? Is here. Where is Jerusalem? Is here. Why I'm pointing towards these particular two locations? It is because this time, as I have pointed out, it was only Jerusalem that was targeted when we talk about bigger cities, okay, Jerusalem and southern Israel. But Tel Aviv, according to the resistance forces, Tel Aviv could also come under attack. They have this kind of rocket that they can launch, or missiles that they can launch and hit Tel Aviv. That's what they said. But this time they targeted Jerusalem and southern Israel. Okay, southern Israel will be where? Right here, somewhere here. Okay, Jerusalem and southern Israel. That's where southern Israel should be. But they said we also are able to hit Tel Aviv. This is why things are so dangerous for the Zionist state. And if you take a look at where Beit Hanoun is, it is sitting right almost in the middle of Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. So the location, the area, and its position is so important, and it is so helpful. They're sitting almost at a vantage point to target these two cities. Now, in the past, I mentioned to you guys that Jerusalem, normally they don't target. The resistance forces, whether it is Iran or whether it is the Houthis, normally they don't target Jerusalem. Why? Because Jerusalem is a sacred place for Islam, for Judaism, and also for Christianity. The only time you will see Jerusalem will be hit if they use some precision-guided missile. I would say that this missile that they have launched, two of them again, they are precision-guided. They are super precision-guided missile that they have launched. I have no doubt in my mind that what the resistance forces they have in their arsenal, they have way more sophisticated system in their arsenal that they will use in the future to shock the Zionist state of Israel, who is committing this genocide in Gaza. Now let's move on, and I just want to share with you some other pictures so that we can analyze it better. And these pictures, guys, again, you will not see on the internet. These are all what I have made. Okay, all the writings you see there, these are all my photos, and I have edited them and customized them so that you understand better what I'm trying to explain here. The red alerts are very, very important. So why I said red alerts, or why I'm mentioning this, is because these red alerts, they're creating a lot of problem for the Zionist state of Israel when it comes to, going about the daily business. They cannot, because of these red alerts, they're always in place. And so this time when we have red alert, because of the resistance forces firing missiles into Israel, it is adding more to the pressure that Israelis are feeling on top of the Houthis missiles. Houthis missiles activated a lot of these sirens in Israel. Now you also have the resistance forces Hamas, their missiles making the sirens go off all over Israel in almost every places. Now, Saturday, this happened in Saturday. So this missile attack came on Saturday just after. The timing is important. Why? Because they attack with this kind of missile just after Houthi missile attack. Okay? Houthi missile attack, the last one was on Friday. The Hamas, the movement, they have launched this attack on Saturday. It was pre-planned. Don't think that they were firing these missiles into Israel haphazardly without any plan. They had a big plan. And the plan was, to me, what I understand, is that they will not let Israel go off the hook. One party or one entity or one group will fire missile. Once they stop, in this case Houthis, then Hamas will come in and start again. In other words, Israel, they are now suffocating with these missiles. They thought with Lebanon, Hezbollah, that they have dealt with, they thought maybe missiles would not be a problem, sirens would not go off. They could actually ask those Zionists to come back to Israel, to the state of Israel who fled the war. But with this kind of attack, and if it continues, it looks like it will, those people are not going to come back to Israel. So it will have a huge dent into the dream of the Zionists, where they said we're going to make Israel greater. So they were planning to expand Israel into Syria, Lebanon, and other places. And also at the same time, Israel, they have broken the ceasefire deal with Hezbollah. They don't care about ceasefire. This could be also part of the plan that after launching this kind of rocket attacks, it might bring those soldiers, those troops, the ITF troops, back to Israel. Instead of staying in Lebanon, they might come back to Israel because the threat in Israel is now increasing from Hamas and Houthis. And therefore, Hezbollah will have time to breathe and to reorganize. Right now, the reason Israeli forces, ITF forces, are in Lebanon is because they don't want Hezbollah to regroup. They are not really receiving any supply of weapon from Syria anymore. They need some time to regroup, to recalibrate the whole situation. But because of Houthi missile attack, because of the Zionist forces breaking the ceasefire law or the deal, they are not able to do so. With this kind of attack, definitely this will help Hezbollah immensely, and they might even move their troops back to the Zionist state of Israel. Now, more rockets in their arsenal. We do not know what kind of rocket they have, Hamas. I have no doubt, as I said in my mind, that if they have ballistic missiles, it is something absolute possible. If they have made those missiles in Gaza while they were fighting Zionist forces, I'll not be surprised. Now, ITF, they have repeatedly invaded this Beit Hanoun since October last year, repeatedly, because as I said, they wanted this area to be cleared, now only to find out that a rocket was actually launched from there. Now, don't go anywhere, because this news, you'll be surprised to see what they're doing. So Israel right now, they are so panicking that they are calling all of the troops to move from Beit Hanoun, from where these two rockets were launched, to another place, and they're evacuating the place, saying that, oh, we are just making it empty for the sake of Palestinians. They don't care about the Palestinian people in Gaza. They care about their own troops. So ITF, they have instructed their forces to move away from that place. ITF intercepts two rockets launched from Gaza to Jerusalem, issues urgent evacuation order for Beit Hanoun. And this is already coming in the news. The Israeli terrorist forces issued an urgent evacuation warning for northern Gaza residents. Again, it is not for the Gaza residents, it is for Israeli forces, after the army claimed that long-range rockets were fired from Gaza on Saturday. Israeli Army's Arabic spokesperson Colonel Avisay Adri published a map showing the areas that were ordered to be evacuated. So again, they are now panicking and they're leaving. Why? Because these rocket attacks, they're gonna intensify the attacks on the IDF forces in Gaza will intensify. There is no doubt about that, and therefore they are now packing and leaving. So this is what is coming in the news at the moment about this particular ballistic missile attack. The Israeli occupation army announced the interception of 2 rockets fired from northern Gaza Strip after sirens were activated in occupied Jerusalem and southern Israel on Saturday. The Israeli Broadcasting Corporation Khan reported that the rockets were launched at close range from Beit Hanoun in northern Gaza, an area heavily occupied by Israeli soldiers. Israel's Channel 13 confirmed that the rockets were fired from Beit Hanoun despite ongoing Israeli military operations in the area since the early days of the war in October 23. This attack, quote unquote, was an element of surprise. Again, you can see yourself, particularly since the army has repeatedly invaded Beit Hanoun. The Israeli channel acknowledged, Al Jazeera Arabic news website said. Channel 13 further revealed that Israeli military officials estimate that the Palestinian resistance movement Hamas possesses additional rockets with the range to strike Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. So again, they're panicking that next will be Tel Aviv in the target. In parallel, the Israeli Walla news site quoted sources within the Israeli Army Southern Command who stated that Palestinian groups in Gaza are in possession of more medium-range rockets. The rocket that was launched from Beit Hanoun was, to say the least, they were medium range. It could be a long-range missile, but a medium range for sure. Can you imagine these resistance forces after 1 year of fighting, facing this army with all the sophisticated weapons and backed up by the superpower of today's time, US, that is still able to launch medium or long-range missiles? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just think about this. These sources added that the resistance is working to restore its missiles capabilities. The shock in Israel following the rocket launches highlights the growing tension between the Israeli army's claims of success and the reality on the ground, and I have refuted them all the time. I said it repeatedly. They are not winning in Gaza. A lot of people disagreed with me. I said, no, they are getting killed. They are getting murdered. They're facing an army, the militia, or if you want to call them army, we should call them resistance force. They're facing these forces that are so resilient. They're not going to give up. In fact, they're building on their capabilities. These ballistic missiles, as I said, there's a good possibility that these missiles were made from Israeli rockets, from Israeli artillery, from Israeli shells that they used to bombard Gaza. I have little doubt about that. That was most likely what happened. Otherwise, how would they be able to get all of these components to put up and make a ballistic missile? It doesn't make any sense. It makes sense if they're capturing Israeli arms, Israeli weapons, Israeli shells, and they have engineered how to make a ballistic missile. I have no doubt about that. These people are absolute prepared. I mean, before October 7th happened, Hamas, they were prepared. They have trained. They have learned how to build tunnels. The tunnel system in Gaza is wreaking havoc in of itself. Forget about everything else. So when we see ballistic missiles, to me, really, it's not so surprising that they have the talent, the resistant forces, to make a missile themselves. So that comes despite month of military operations aimed at dismantling Palestinian resistance. The latter continues to demonstrate resistance and strength. Guys, what is going to be happening for the state of Israel when we hear them talking big? Oh, we're going to make this place greater Israel, and we're going to capture lands, and this will happen, that will happen. Now they cannot even fight just a few militias in Gaza. Unbelievable.